the governor is the other person that's supposed to have the checks and balances in the city. And I think Blakeman has a terrific chance. His chances are increasing. And I think they're going to get down to 50-50 at some point, because the New Yorkers are going to reach the level of where is the common sense? Where is the checks and balances? And I think Bruce Blakeman has a good shot if he plays his cards right and talks a good game.
Well, that's longtime New York businessman John Catsimatidis with me on this program earlier this week, saying that New York gubernatorial candidate Bruce Blakeman has a, quote, terrific chance to win in this year's New York gubernatorial race. A new Siena University poll shows current New York Governor Kathy Hochul's favorability rating is now at the lowest level since last June. Still, she's still leading Blakeman now by just 3 points. Joining me now is the man himself, New York gubernatorial candidate and Nassau County executive, Bruce Blakeman. Bruce, welcome back. Great to see you. So you're doing better in the polls, obviously. Can you close this gap, Bruce?
Well, Maria, we are going to win this race, because this race is about the people of New York State who are miserable under Kathy Hochul. The most overtaxed state in the United States. Our electric bills are 70% higher than the national average. It's the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. We've had a railroad strike. Now we have runways at our airports collapsing. The whole infrastructure is falling apart. And it's because Kathy Hochul has been too busy with special interest groups, the green energy scam, and policies that don't fit in to everyday New Yorkers. I want to make this state more affordable. I'll cut electric rates in half. I'll cut taxes. And I'll bring back business and economic development and job prosperity and make people happy again, because now they're miserable.
And that's what you did and continue to do in Nassau County. And I want to get your take on that, because you are looking at Nassau County as potentially being a model for New York when it comes to safer streets, more police, lower taxes, tougher immigration enforcement. What are your plans?
Well, first of all, I've been named the safest county in America by U.S. News and World Report. I cut a $150 million tax increase by my predecessor. I haven't raised taxes 1 penny in 4 years, even with inflation. And, of course, I've gotten 7 bond upgrades. That's unprecedented in 3 years, and 4 budget surpluses in a row. So that's the kind of management I want to bring to the state of New York. I want to create jobs for our young people, put more money in their pocket so that they can make choices on how they want to spend their money, not government.
Well, President Trump got back behind you early on. I know you met with the president early this month at the White House. Tell us about the meeting and what you've heard from President Trump on this.
Well, President Trump has been a big backer of me. He's very supportive. He's been a good friend. I think he's been a great president. I support him 100%. I think the war in Iran was absolutely essential. As a New Yorker, I worry about attacks on New York, and we saw what happened on 9/11 just 25 years ago. If they can kill 3,000 innocent people in one day and take their own lives, they would be more than willing to kill 3 million people in our city. So I back him on that, and I'm grateful to have his support.
So you're talking about security and safety, which is something that President Trump ran on in both campaigns in 2016 as well as in 2024. But you're also talking about the reasons that so many wealthy individuals are leaving New York. I mean, we've seen a wealth of people leaving because of these taxes. Now New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is taking jabs at the billionaire crowd over his proposal to have a Pied-à-Terre tax, an annual surcharge on anybody who has a second home that's valued at $1 million or more. The tax proposal, as you know, was coordinated with Governor Kathy Hochul, and it previously applied to anybody who has a home over $5 million, but the governor has since lowered the level and says that now if you have a home that's $1 million, you're going to pay up. All the drama began after Mamdani filmed that video last month in front of Citadel CEO Ken Griffin's home, in front of his Manhattan penthouse, to tout his tax the rich mentality, Bruce. A lot of people said that was dangerous because these are security issues. Your reaction to his take on taxes and what Kathy Hochul is doing with it?
Well, we have to educate people that when high net worth individuals leave a state, they take their wealth, they take tax revenue away, so that tax burden falls on the middle class, and they take valuable jobs. It'll hurt the carpenter, the plumber, the electrician, the waiter, the waitress, the dry cleaner, the dog walker. It hurts everybody. When you look at successful states like Texas and Florida, they invite high net worth individuals into their state. They want jobs in their state. And Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani have a very, very flawed economic policy. I call Mamdani the commie, and I call Kathy Comrade Kathy, because they want to go to policies that have been failed everywhere they've ever been tried in the world. Capitalism, the Judeo-Christian work ethic, that's what's worked. That's what's made us the most powerful and the richest country in the world. And they want to hurt New York by bringing in policies that are failed and flawed. I want to get back to American values, put more money in people's pockets, create jobs, make this an exciting and vibrant state for our young people so they'll stay here.
Well, there's definitely watching the billionaire's tax in California to see how that goes and whether or not they want to put that in New York as well, no doubt. But your campaign is also talking about the Long Island Railroad. You've made congestion pricing and the Long Island strike central issues this week. The Long Island Railroad is back up and running after that strike that shut it down early this week. It caused travel disruptions for hundreds of thousands of New York commuters. Workers initially rejected the MTA's latest wage offering, and new data obtained by Fox News shows that those employees on strike already earn a six-figure salary, finding that they spend more than $3 million on luxury travel in 2025. Bruce, you've criticized Governor Hochul's handling of the shutdown, saying she should have suspended the New York congestion fee while the strike was underway. How would you have handled that differently than what Hochul did during this transit crisis? And do you believe this is going to impact your race?
So the first thing is, I wouldn't give $8 billion to illegal migrants who just arrived in our state. They get free housing, free food, free transportation, a free cell phone. So when union leaders and their members were discussing the proposals made by the state, and the state's giving billions of dollars away to people who aren't New Yorkers, they're not even Americans, they just arrive in our state and they get $81,000 in benefits, how can you go to your members and say, hey, the state doesn't have enough money? And then Kathy Hochul, the week before, bailed out New York City with $5.5 billion. So I don't blame the union leaders and the members. They're saying, how can you not have the money if you're giving money away to illegal migrants?
Yeah, Bruce, real quick before you go, I know that you are running as a Republican in this race. There are some people who want to see your name under the column independent as well. There are petitions right now being signed by people. They want you as a Republican as well as an independent. Is that something you can do?
It's a high bar to get over. You need 45,000 signatures in a very short window. But there's an effort out there by independent people who want to put me on the ballot as an independent as well as a Republican and a conservative. So hopefully they'll be successful.
All right, Bruce, great to see you. We're watching the race closely, and we so appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
All right, Bruce Blakeman joining us in New York. We'll be right back.